and let the drum machine, let the drum machine, let the drum machine just bang. Freestyle Friday, let it bang, and let it bang, and let it, yeah. Spill a little paint on the backdrop. Nowadays the words feel like chalk on the blacktop. Cause when it rains they gone, it's invisible ink. No Sharpie or indelible stink.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the Glycogen Cycling channel. So we're back again for another Florida gravel adventure. So today is not going to be, there's nothing specific I want to talk about. So you're just going to hear me ramble on a little bit on gravel, my experiences with gravel, why I like it, why I don't like it, and hear me talk about this place, Cecil Webb, a little bit. So, just stay tuned. Hear me talk my thoughts a little bit on this gravel stuff for the next 10 minutes, and hopefully you enjoy. And hopefully, if you're just looking to see what Cecil Webb is, you enjoy this footage as well. So we went out for a little gravel riding. This really started probably a couple weeks back. So my dad was down here and we went for just a little gravel ride, and my sister just fell in love with it for whatever reason. And now she's been all about gravel riding. So last week's video you saw us, we went to Bird Rookery Swamp, and that was a little for the gravel, but it was mostly for the alligators and just checking that place out. So if you haven't seen that video, go check that out in the top right corner. But today my sister went here once before, but today I've never been here, and we're just gonna check it out. But this place is actually pretty cool. There's a lot of gravel roads. You can get lost out here for a couple hours and not ride the same road twice. Very little cars, very little I guess shade too. I mean, there's some shade, as you can see here, but there's more shade than you'd get on the road, but for the most part it's pretty wide open compared to Bird Rookery Swamp. But the roads are more gravelly than they were at Bird Rookery Swamp. So if you haven't, like I said earlier, if you haven't seen that video from last week, go watch that, because I'm going to be referring to that place a lot. But that place, the trails were probably better suited for a mountain bike, but you could do it on a gravel bike, whereas this place is probably better suited for a gravel bike or a cyclocross type of bike, kind of like what my dad's riding, kind of like a hybrid or Greg up in front in the green and black. Something similar to that, where it's skinnier tires, you can go a lot faster, versus a mountain bike, which would be a little bit heavier and a little more rugged than you need for out here. So this place is really your true gravel experience, what everyone talks about when they talk about gravel and how awesome it is. And so I never really got into this whole gravel thing, and I think why that is because personally I just like getting up, grabbing my bike, and going out the door and getting the ride in. I just really don't like putting everything in the car, driving to the trail, unloading everything, and then doing your ride, and then loading everything back up and driving home. Because the time you do that, it's like a 3-hour thing if you are only doing an hour and a half, 2 hours on the bike. Whereas road bike, I can just go out for an hour and be back and ready to go and just back to work, which recently is what I've been doing a lot of, which is good because there's no races. So I think it's better to do it now. But yeah, I've just been doing hour on the bike, back home, back at it. But it's good to switch it up. I understand why people like the gravel, because we passed probably 2 or 3 cars, and they were always, super nice, just pulling over so it's not super dusty in our face and just letting us pass before they go. and the cars that did pass us, you know, were slow. I don't think any came up from behind, but the ones in front. So it just, people are a little bit more aware, and I really like that. I like people being aware of cyclists a little bit more. It's I think the reason for that is not because it's gravel, but just because it's different, and people are just like not in that mundane view of let's just get in the car, go to the store, get back, and not be bothered. Versus gravel, they're probably out here, whether they're going to the shooting range there was, or just taking pictures. We saw a couple people, or just like checking out the nature or what's back here. So people are just like not on their phones and just looking around and stuff and such, versus just like in their groove trying to get their stuff done for the day. So I understand why people like gravel a lot. There's less cars, and it's just nice to get out into nature versus, you know, seeing a bunch of buildings and stoplights and stuff. That's one thing I really liked about mountain biking. It's just like you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you don't hear anything except like birds and such. What I don't like is, like I said, was saying earlier, is just like driving to the place you have to go. If I lived right across the street from here and could just grab my gravel bike and ride over here and ride home, I'd do it a lot more, for sure. But I don't. So what I like to do is just ride road. Basically, whatever's the quickest to get me on the bike. I don't really like driving, so at least like to go riding, I just rather like I like road trips, but I don't like driving to go do things. I don't know, it's weird. Which would I'd rather just like be on the bike. Like I'd rather ride to, like if I had a way to ride my road bike to here and then just have a gravel bike that I could just like swap out real quick and ride it, I'd probably do that. Not to, you know, tell the truth. But, and some people are going to say, well, why don't you just ride your gravel bike to the gravel trails, duh. And the thing with that is I just have, I don't know if this is actually scientific fact or not, but when you ride gravel tires or cyclocross tires on pavement, they're going to wear out a lot faster than if you just rode them on gravel or grass and such. So that's why I wouldn't do that, because I guess I'm cheap and I don't want to buy tires and wear them out by riding on the road versus just on gravel itself. I don't know, weird like that. But this section of the ride, we did like 20 miles today, and we were just chilling, so it would probably take us like hour 45, 2 hours. But if you want to do intervals out here, this is like the spot to do it. But that last section was a little bit more rocky, kind of like this center section is right here. There's like a little bit bigger rocks, so a gravel bike, you know, you may get, if you hit a bump wrong, you're gonna get thrown around a bit, but you should be fine. There was some guys out here with like aero bars on their gravel bike, so it's definitely possible. So if you're just trying to get out, get a big day in on gravel, this is the spot to go. You can do loops all day. You know, and we didn't even ride even half of the mountain trail of the roads today, so pretty good day. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. There's some of these cattle grates, but I didn't see any cattle, so I don't know if that's exactly what they're used for, but yeah, I know they lock off certain sections. Like one section we hit a fence, and it said it's not open during this time. So maybe they open different parts at different times of the year. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but or they lock certain parts off to hunting or something. I don't know how exactly that works. But we saw a lot of people out here on ATVs, some people fishing, some people taking pictures of birds, you know, just a bunch of outdoor activities in this little area here. There's a nice lake at the beginning, so I didn't see any boats on it exactly, but I think it's a fairly shallow lake. But people camping here. I don't know if I said there's a gun range that you could go to. So a whole bunch of outdoor Florida activities that you can do at this Cecil Webb place. And the last thing I'll mention is it's $6 per car to enter, or like $3 a person, something like that. So just be aware of that. We actually got stopped 2 times by the park rangers. Like we pulled in, a ranger stopped us, is like, did you pay? And we're like, where do we pay? Because there wasn't anyone to like take payments. It's cash only, so make sure you bring some cash. And so the ranger stops us, we go to the front and pay, and as soon as we get back, a different guy comes and says, let me see your pass. And we're like, what's going on here? So, you know, they actually are pretty strict about it. So make sure you bring cash, make sure you pay, and make sure you put the sticker on your window, because they will pull you over. So just be aware of that. But overall, super great day, super fun, nice to switch it up, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.